Okay, so as we start with 11.3, we're going to be talking about inscribed angles. Now, I believe back in chapter 7-ish, somewhere back there, we talked about central angles. Central angles are located at the center and have a measure that's equal to the arc that it intercepts. Today we're going to talk about inscribed angles. An inscribed angle is an angle whose vertex is actually on the circle. So this angle right here, this is an inscribed angle because its vertex is literally on the circle. The measure of an inscribed angle is that it's equal to half of the intercepted arc. So if you have an arc that is x, that means that the angle is half of that x. So if the angle were 60, if the arc were 60, then the angle is 30. Now, if you know the arc, you divide by 2 to get the angle. But if you know the angle, you would multiply by 2 to get the arc. So again, back here, if our angle was 40, then to go back to the arc, you'd have to multiply by 2, and that would be 80. So that half of 80 is that 40. As you look at this next example, it says, notice that the diameter is drawn, which cuts the circle in half. So when you've got this line going straight across, that's our diameter. When you cut the circle in half, that creates a semicircle. Semicircles are equal to 180 degrees. Now, if we want to find x, x is an inscribed angle because its vertex is right here on the circle. If you follow the sides of the angle, notice that it goes out to this arc that's highlighted in yellow. So if this whole semicircle is 180, we would need to do 180 minus 68, which gives us 112. So the yellow arc is 112. Half of that is going to give us 56. So x is 56. For this example, both x and y are inscribed angles because both x and y have a vertex on the circle. Now that angle z is just somewhere in the circle, and we'll worry about that last, so we're not going to deal with z right now. Let's start with the arcs on the circle. A full circle would be 360. So if you take 78, 120, and 110, then the missing arc up here at the top, when you subtract from 360, that would be 52. Now, let's go to x. If you follow the sides of x to the circle, it intercepts the 120. So half of 120 would be 60. So x is 60. If you go to y, follow the sides of y. Y goes out to the arc that we found that was 52. So half of 52 is 26. So we have x is 60, y is 26. Let's scroll down and find z. Now, what happens is this angle that I'm pointing to down here, below this x, it would also be 26 because when you follow the sides, it also intercepts that arc, which is 52. So if x is 60, and this angle down here at the bottom is also 26, then we can add and subtract from 180 because the angles of a triangle add to 180. So if we take 60 and 26 and subtract from 180, we would get 94. Now that 94, it's next to the z. Together, 94 and z have to add to 180 because it's a straight line. So when you do 180 minus 94, that gives you z is equal to 86. Continuing on, in this next one, just try to follow along. I've got a lot highlighted here, and I'm going to try and explain it. It says, notice that the angle of 105 goes with the yellow arc on top. So you've got this inscribed angle of 105. Follow the sides of the angle and it intercepts this yellow arc up top. Okay, so let's stay with that. The angle that we don't know up here in turquoise, it goes with the bottom turquoise arc. Now together, the yellow and the turquoise, they form a full circle, which is 360. So we know that if this angle of 105 is an inscribed angle, when you multiply that by 2 to get the arc, you would get 210. Subtracting from 360 would give you 150. Half of 150 is going to make this 75. So if both angles are inscribed, then together they would both have to be half of 360, which is 180. So that's another way you could do it. You could take 180 minus 105. Using that same principle on the other angles, you can do 180 minus 71, and that would give you 109. Now here's the conclusion that we're coming to. When you have a quadrilateral, a four-sided figure, inscribed in a circle, meaning all of the corners, all of the vertices are on the circle, the opposite angles are supplementary, which means they add to 180. So 105 plus 75 is 180. 71 plus 109 is 180. Now on this one, if we wanted to find the arc that's in yellow, we have to start at the 21. This 21 is an inscribed angle, so when you have the angle, you multiply by 2 to get the arc. So this arc up here is 42. Now, we don't want that, so we're going to take 360 minus 42, and that gives us 318 for that arc that is x. Your homework is page 601. You're going to do 11 through 22. It's not terribly difficult, but use these notes and the idea of the inscribed angle.